This isn't a joke, and I'm writing to you all to help me sort this out. I'm new to Reddit, but I figured that this was the best place to go to first, especially seeing as some people on here are literally searching for the fucked up stuff. I have no idea if what happened to me was real or not. I don't believe in weird ass mumbo jumbo, but I know I'm not crazy, so I'm left with little to no other explanations. But judging from how much I'm shaking while typing this, it probably happened. Or at least, I thought it did. I drive a grey Nissan, leather interior, flecked with water spots and vacuumed once in its pathetic life. It's old, it's a hunk of scraps, but it gets me places. I used to be a Lyft driver on weekends. Now, I'm not, for obvious reasons you'll understand soon, and I also have a day job. I love bagels and beer and women. I enjoy loud music. I'm normal. I swear I'm fucking normal. Never done a mean thing to anybody, let alone to deserve this demonic shit in my life. Anyways, I live on the east side of the States. I don't want to tell you guys exactly where I live in case he's or it's reading this, but whatever. I don't think it can use a computer. Hell, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if it could though. This year, it's a fucking bitch summer. The days are hot and bleary, and I sweat all goddamn day. I do hard labor for a living, so I'm a pretty big guy and in shape despite my age. Tall, wiry hair, thick beard, the whole 9 yards. I'm a friendly guy, live on a small street at a house in a cul-de-sac and drink Red Bull to survive. I have no kids, no close family, a couple of good friends and a dog named Rascal. Okay, with all of that in mind, it was last Friday that this freaky shit happened. I'd have written about it sooner, but I couldn't muster the courage to do so. I was driving down my work town's main street. I don't work in the small town I live in. I took off to the freeway, then found myself along the empty back roads. The brushry is thicker out here, the trees more plenty, and the weeds are looming long structures attacking the other plants. These roads are basically shortcuts the locals like me know of. It was after work, so it was dark. Towering trees were giving way to heavy foliage as I tried to avoid incoming traffic to my small passerby town. The road is a two-way, so there is oncoming and incoming traffic with high beams and honking horns every couple of miles. There were seldom any cars, but it wasn't so late that there was none, just an average amount dotting the trip along home. I had a Metallica CD blasting through my speakers, keeping it old school to stay awake in the night. Despite the warmth, I remember fog picking up in the distance, clouding my high beams enough that seeing even 10 feet ahead was impossible. I like to tap my fingers on my steering wheel and keep a Dr. Pepper in my cup holder. I'm a windows up, heater on sort of guy. As I continued to drive, music blaring, the night grew gradually darker until it was almost pitch black. I was a bit off put by this, but didn't think too much of it. Sometimes the nights were darker. Simple as that. Mother Nature and all of that shit. I felt my headlights were doing next to nothing to guide me, and the backward roads seemed longer than usual, but I also attributed this to a lack of sleep and a long hot day on the job. I was able to calm myself. As soon as I began to see figures darting back and forth in the road, did I truly reflect on the shitty atmosphere. I would wipe at my eyes, rubbing them with my fists, interchangeably. Still, the shapes would play across my vision, but the running figures would disappear eventually. If I stared at one too long, it would seemingly melt into the darkness of the night and weave into the surroundings. This scared me more than them just being there, where I could see them. Now they came from everywhere. I didn't see too many after clearing my head like that. Fog, a moonless sky, the frost slicking up my windows in a haze. I was uneasy to begin with, but found myself drawn to continue down the road despite its newly found unfamiliarity. Eventually, I pulled over to switch CDs and check my GPS just to make sure the road was correct and that I hadn't accidentally taken a wrong turn. My car's clock showed a normal time, but I still felt like I had been driving for hours. My phone checked out my location to be accurate. Everything was good. and I was being paranoid. I needed a beer, a dark beer, and I needed it soon. With only the intention to hurrying home in mind, I shifted my car into gear to speed back into the night. That's when I heard the knocking. It was faint, so faint that it could have been a child's or a weary adult's or an inquisitive stranger's. My head whipped to my passenger window, only to see nothing there. My throat was dry and I reached for my Dr. Pepper with a quivering hand. I took a long gulp. I settled for a moment. This time, there was no mistaking the sound. It was a fucking knock, and it was brutal, curious, and determined. In a rush of adrenaline, I kicked the car into gear and sped off into the night. For a moment, I felt safe and secure. My car was moving away from whatever was scaring me. I was protected in the moving vehicle, protected in metal, heavy, thick, durable metal. I was safe. Until the knocking persisted. This time, it was coming from the back windshield. I glanced to my rearview mirror and found nothing exciting, let alone something or someone knocking. My heartbeat wouldn't calm, and my hands slipped off the wheel several times as they grew increasingly clammy. I hadn't been this scared since I lived with my dad. I sped faster, cutting into the roads and fog, slicing right through and leaving my mark. The moving figures were back, but they were a trick of the light. It was all a trick of the light. I kicked up gravel along my way, praying silently to a god I didn't believe in, as the knock grew louder, now behind me. It was on my back right passenger window. It was crawling, whatever the fuck it was, slipping towards me in whatever gawky way it could. I felt bile rise in my throat, and I kicked the car into gear again, thrusting as fast as I could into the evening. A car honked at me as I swerved to get a look into their windows, to see if they were real. I was too scared to open the window, but the presence of another car on the road comforted me slightly. I knew I couldn't drive whatever was knocking on my car to my home or anyone else's. I had to shake it off before getting into my hometown. I began to weave through the road. The car jolted over the double yellows bumps, alerting me and pausing the knocker. Holloway. I continued this and looped my way through another neighborhood, hoping the creature would let go. I realized in a moment of panic it was coming closer to my door, and that it was unlocked. I locked them in a flurry of fear, my heart in my throat, my eyes leaving the main road to look at my window. I felt somehow as if I had just almost dodged a bullet. My eyes darted between my windows and mirrors, searching for even the slightest thing to be out of place. My car door's window was fogged beyond sight. I couldn't see out of it. The dewy breath was pulsating as if someone were breathing the fog onto the glass. A scream got caught in my throat as my door's handle jiggled. The force of the impending intruder shook the car somewhat. In a last effort to dissuade the creature, I cut a corner close and tight, as fast as I could, the car tipping and my breath getting caught in my throat. Immediately the knocking was beside me, harsh and rapid in succession. The door was tried again in an angry cacophony of slamming and jarring, a hand slamming against my window, and I gagged in an effort to stay calm at the sight of the inhuman appendage. The hand was furred, large, scraping into the glass and streaking it with an inhuman strength. The glass chipped the nail markings.
"Just let me in, and I'll leave you be."
The whisper came from nowhere and everywhere at the same time. I could swear I could see the streetlights flicker and the shadows move towards me. They were closing in, and I was going to die. In a final effort, I hit the gas fully one last time, and I rammed my car head-on into one of the light poles with my phone already dialing 911. The cops, they would find me, or I'd be dead, and both were comforting final thoughts. When I awoke, I was in my local hospital connected to an IV with my foot in a cast. Apparently, the accident appeared severe, but my condition was not. I hadn't even asleep a full day. I was given my phone back by the doctor and told my car had been totaled. 24 hours after that, and I was discharged, with the doctor handing me the salvaged items from my car's wreck. I was given the normal things that I kept in my trunk: water bottle, emergency kit, etc. But one item did stand out. It was lying beside the car the doctor had told me.
"What is it?"
I asked.
"We're not sure. The team who gathered it said it appeared to be some sort of an heirloom. They assumed it belonged to you, or I believed it was one of those anxiety stones, the smooth ones. It's not yours?"
I staggered, the doctor catching me by my elbow and steadying me. A look of concern flashed through blue eyes, but I was chuckling at my stumble, reassuring the doctor that I was fine. I was fucking fine. I feigned recognition of the stone and convinced him to give it to me.
"Oh yes, that."
I had assured the doctor further. He had smiled and abided. The stone was yellowed in colour, tapering to a blunt point with some interesting markings on the back alongside a few scrapes to the rock's front where it bent like a concave bow. I smoothed my thumb over the carvings. Before writing this, I figured out what the rock actually was. It's a tooth, blunt for crushing and edged with what I'm assuming are curses. The designs seem to have purpose, are not apparently random. Regardless, it's a fucking tooth, and I only know that because I googled some of the characteristics, and that's what the internet suggested. I'm scared the fucking thing is going to come back and knock on the door to my home. This will be a lot worse than knocking on my moving car. I don't know what to do or what precautions to take. I'm fucking scared, and I'm not scared to admit it, that's for sure. And if it comes after me, guys, it's going to be pissed, because seeing as I'm sure the crash was what broke its fucking tooth. I'm writing this with a broken leg and a crappy laptop in a local cafe. I can't sleep, I can't eat. Research has left me at dead ends after the tooth discovery. I swear to God, I didn't do anything to deserve this. I'm not a bad person, and I can't take that road again. I just can't. Please help me.